Thank you, Jukka, and thanks for inviting me to say a few words at the opening of this seminar. I have to say it's been a real joy to follow the various projects and activities of futuring sustainable Nordic business models so far. And I wish you all the best with your papers and discussions during sustainability and the future of Nordic business models. The Nordic countries have recently expressed very high ambitions indeed with regard to their environmental policies. And they have, as the invitation to this seminar notes, a reputation for being sustainability champions. I like that expression. The ambition, as it has now been articulated, is to be both the most integrated and the greenest region in the world by 2030. In connection with this decision or initiative of last year, Norway's Prime Minister Erna Solberg claimed that the Nordic countries had, quote, shown the world that it is possible to combine economic growth with ambitious climate policies. Judging by some of the questions you'll be addressing during this seminar, I take it that you'll be discussing such claims. And it is, of course, vitally important that we do so. To what extent are such initiatives and statements primarily attempts at, say, branding the Nordics or greening them? To what extent are they expressions of a genuine political will for change? And if the latter, what needs to be done in order to achieve such ambitious goals? One of the things I personally appreciate about the research project Futuring Sustainable Nordic Business Models is that you're willing both to ask critical questions and to think constructively about what should and might be done to meet the huge challenges we're facing. The latter ambition also shows in the invite to this seminar, for instance, in the question, what might the transition to sustainability entail for Nordic business models? Here we are then in digital fashion, the fashion of our times, you might say. As researchers and as an academic community in the midst of the pandemic, we need to try to keep doing our work to keep the conversation going. I like to think that the world of research belongs to what our authorities here in Norway call samfunnskritiske funksjoner, functions that are critical, that is vital to our societies. It is at least possible to think of us as fulfilling functions that are critical also in the more narrow sense. In our context, it means being critical of our notions of what it means to be Nordic, of the so-called Nordic model, of the ways in which we're failing to meet the great challenges of our time. I'm here primarily to remind you of the fact that Futuring Sustainable Nordic Business Models belongs to a larger fellowship, namely UiO Nordic. It is familiar to some of you, but not to all. UiO Nordic is one of the three major interdisciplinary research initiatives at the University of Oslo, together with UiO Energy and UiO Life Science. And it got off the ground in 2016. It consists of 10 large research projects, from the ambivalence of Nordic nature to Nordic welfare developments, from Nordic branding to the public sphere and freedom of expression in the Nordic countries, and finally, to Futuring Sustainable Nordic Business Models, to mention just half of them. It involves close to 250 academics, and this autumn we'll have another expansion of 3 more projects via our final call. Among our official ambitions are, firstly, a wish to promote new and relevant knowledge of the Nordic region and the Nordic in an international context. And secondly, to supply critical perspectives on the sustainability and development potential of the Nordic models and institutions. More generally, the two main dimensions of UiO Nordic are that we engage in research on Nordic issues and that we work in interdisciplinary ways. The sustainability of Nordic models and institutions is, of course, at the most basic or fundamental level, about the sustainability of the planet, of the environment. I'm very pleased that we have two projects that more specifically address such questions, futuring and the ambivalence of Nordic nature. A project that, among other things, looks at the discrepancy between our romantic views of nature, our closeness to nature, and our exploitation of it. In addition to representing the staff at UiO Nordic, I would also like to draw attention to the fact that we are partners in the Nordic Excellence Hub Renew, reimagining Norden in an evolving world, sponsored by Nordforsk. And I'd very much encourage you to look into the opportunities offered by Renew. We regularly have calls for workshops, mobility, outreach, and open access publications. The next deadline is, in fact, just in a few days from now, on the 30th of November. It's the custom on such occasions to give extra warm welcomes to speakers who've traveled from afar. This does perhaps make less sense today, and that's on the whole a good thing in terms of air travel. But I'm nevertheless pleased to give a particularly warm welcome to the seminar's keynote speakers, Dr. Jason Hickel from Goldsmiths, University of London, and Dr. Sarah Cornell from the Stockholm Resilience Centre, a very important partner for the project. Thank you for taking the time to be with us, and we very much look forward to your contributions. When I greeted some of you on behalf of UiO Nordic about a year ago, I half-jokingly made a point of looking into the origins of the word futuring. My finding was that it at first had two quite different meanings. The earliest examples of the word did not occur with futurists or futurologists of the 20th century, but in religious discourse around the time of the English Civil War in the 1640s. The first meaning related to trifling, to putting things off to a future day. The other was closer to a semantics that I think you're more comfortable with, and that is closer to contemporary meanings of the word, to make future. I'm pleased to see that you seem to have taken my warning on board and that there are a great many signs of activity and no signs of trifling or dithering at all in futuring sustainable Nordic business models, even in these trying and particularly demanding times. And I hope that this seminar will be yet another contribution, small or large, to making future. I wish you all the best for the seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Rem. Thank you, Tore Rem, of this nice and encouraging opening of our seminar. And hopefully we are now, at least you will be able to be proud of us now as part of the University of Oslo Nordic initiative. Thank you.